I had always believed in keeping the past where it belonged, but as fate would have it, the past had a way of catching up when least expected. At 30, I thought I had moved on, but seeing Leah there, on a street I had walked 1,000 times as a child, everything came rushing back. Leah's voice sliced through the air, unmistakable and laced with that familiar condescension. "Alex, is that you? What a surprise! I hardly recognized you." I pulled my hat lower, hoping against hope to avoid this confrontation. "Leah?" I acknowledged, my voice barely above a whisper, betraying my discomfort. She looked me up and down, a smirk playing on her lips. "Visiting your parents? How quaint. I thought you'd be too busy in your new, glamorous life to remember this little town." Her words stung, reminding me of the pain she had caused, of the life she had helped dismantle. "I make time for my family," I responded, trying to keep my voice steady. Leah laughed, a sound that sent shivers down my spine. "Of course you do, especially now, I suppose, with your husband working. Must be lonely in that big city life." The implication was clear, and it hit its mark. My first marriage, a chapter I had desperately tried to close, was being thrown in my face once again. Leah's eyes glinted with malice. "I heard about your divorce, Alex. Such a shame. Daniel and I are doing wonderfully, by the way. He's been such a rock." The mention of Daniel, my ex-husband, now her husband, was a low blow. I fought the urge to lash out, to scream at her for the homewrecker she was. Instead, I forced a smile. "I'm glad to hear that. Everyone deserves happiness, Leah." Her laugh was cold, devoid of any genuine warmth. "Oh, Alex, always playing the saint, but we both know the truth, don't we? You were never good enough for him, and now you're here alone." I looked away, unable to bear the weight of her gaze, the hatred and jealousy that had defined our relationship for years. "And what about you, Leah? Back in town because?" I trailed off, not really wanting to know, but desperate to shift the focus. Leah's expression darkened for a moment before she regained her composure. "Oh, we're just visiting. Daniel's job has been so demanding, but he's up for a promotion. Life is just perfect." The bitterness in my throat was hard to swallow. "I'm happy for you, Leah, truly." Her gaze softened, mistaking my response for defeat. "You know, Alex, it's never too late to start over. Maybe you'll find someone else, someone more suited to you." I nodded, unable to trust my voice. The encounter had drained me, reopening wounds I thought had healed. As Leah turned to leave, her parting shot was a poisoned arrow. "Take care, Alex. Try not to dwell on the past too much. It's not healthy." Watching her walk away, a mix of emotions battled within me. Anger, sadness, but above all, a burning desire for vindication. Leah might believe she had won, but I wasn't the same person I was when I left. I had built a new life, one that Leah couldn't begin to understand. And as I stood there, a plan began to form in my mind. Leah wanted to drag me back into the past? Fine. But this time, I would be the one writing the ending. Turning on my heel, I walked away from Leah and the bitter memories she embodied. It was time to face my demons, to confront the past, and reclaim my future. And as the distance between us grew, so did my resolve. Leah may have thought she had seen the last of me, but I was just getting started. The drive back from my parents' house was a blur, Leah's words echoing in my mind, a relentless reminder of the battle I thought I had left behind. I wasn't alone in my journey back. The ghosts of my past rode shotgun, each memory a sharp jab to my heart. As I entered the home I shared with Ethan, the contrast between my past and present couldn't have been starker. This was a place of love, respect, and mutual support. Everything my marriage with Daniel had pretended to be, but never was. Ethan noticed my troubled expression immediately. "Alex, what's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost." I hesitated, not wanting to bring the toxicity of my past into our peaceful home. "It's nothing, just ran into an old acquaintance in town. It threw me off a bit." Ethan's brow furrowed in concern, his voice gentle yet insistent. "Who? Anyone I know?" "It was Leah," I admitted, the name tasting bitter on my tongue. "Leah?" His confusion cleared as he connected the dots. "Your ex-husband's wife? What did she say to you?" The floodgates opened, and I recounted the encounter. Leah's barbs, her gloating, the way she wielded my past as a weapon against me. Ethan listened in silence, his expression darkening with each word. "That's enough, Alex. She has no right to talk to you like that. You're not that person anymore. You're strong, successful, and most importantly, you're with me now. We're a team." His words were a balm, soothing the sting of Leah's venom. I know, Ethan. It's just hard, you know? She always knew how to push my buttons. Ethan's hand found mine, a tangible reminder of his support. Then let's push back. Not by stooping to her level, but by living our best lives. You said she's in town for a bit? I nodded, wary of where this was heading. Then let's invite them over for dinner. Show her how insignificant she and her opinions are to us. The suggestion took me by surprise. Invite them here? Ethan, are you sure? Yes, it's time Leah saw the real Alex, the woman I fell in love with, and it's time you saw yourself through my eyes, not hers. The idea was audacious, bordering on madness. Yet there was a certain appeal to it, a chance to confront my past on my terms, in my territory. Leah had always been about appearances. Showing her the facade of my life had cracked and revealed a stronger foundation beneath might just be the revenge I needed. Okay. I agreed, a spark of defiance igniting within me. Let's do it. Let's invite Leah and Daniel for dinner. Ethan's smile was all the encouragement I needed. That's my girl. We'll show them the true meaning of happiness, one they can only dream of. The days leading up to the dinner were a whirlwind of preparation, both physical and emotional. I found myself oscillating between anticipation and dread, wondering if I was inviting disaster into my home. Yet, as the evening arrived and the doorbell rang, I felt a calmness settle over me. This was my home, my life, and I refused to let Leah's shadow darken it any longer. Greeting them at the door, I was the picture of grace, even as Leah's eyes roamed, looking for cracks in my armor. Leah, Daniel, welcome to our home. I'm so glad you could make it, I said, my voice steady and welcoming. Leah's response was laced with false sweetness. Alex, thank you for having us. It's been so long. I was surprised to get your invitation. The night was set to be a battlefield, but I was ready. With Ethan by my side, I was armed not with weapons, but with the unassailable truth of my happiness and strength. Tonight, Leah would see the real Alex, not the shadow she had hoped to find. The dining room was set, every detail meticulously arranged, not for the sake of impressing Leah and Daniel, but as a testament to the life Ethan and I had built together. The air was thick with anticipation as we all sat down, the initial pleasantries giving way to an awkward silence. Ethan, ever the gracious host, broke the ice. I hope you both find the wine to your liking. It's from a small vineyard we discovered on our last trip to Italy. Daniel nodded, his demeanor polite but distant. It's very good, thank you. Italy sounds wonderful. Leah, however, couldn't resist a dig. Oh, Italy, that must have been nice. It's good to see you can finally afford such luxuries, Alex. Her words were designed to wound, but I kept my composure. Yes, it was a beautiful trip. Ethan and I have been fortunate to share many wonderful experiences together. The conversation shifted towards more neutral topics, but the undercurrent of tension remained palpable. Leah's eyes, sharp and calculating, missed nothing, while Daniel seemed increasingly uncomfortable, caught between his current and former wife. As dinner progressed, Leah's provocations grew more pointed. So, Alex, Ethan tells us you've been quite successful in your career. It must be a nice change from your earlier days. I could feel Ethan's gaze, supportive and encouraging. Yes, I've been lucky to find a path that's both challenging and rewarding. Ethan has been a great support. Ethan chimed in, his pride evident. Alex is being modest. She's not just successful, she's excelled. It's her dedication and intelligence that have gotten her where she is. Leah's smile thinned, her tactics failing to elicit the response she'd hoped for. Well, it's always good to see someone turn their life around. After your divorce, I worried about you, Alex. But it seems you've landed on your feet. The mention of the divorce, a deliberate jab, was Leah's way of steering the conversation towards more treacherous waters. Yes, the divorce was a difficult time, but it led me to where I am today. Sometimes what seems like an end is just the beginning of something new. Daniel, silent up to this point, finally spoke, his voice tinged with regret. Alex, Leah cut him off, her tone sharp. Daniel, why don't you tell Ethan about that new project you're working on? I'm sure the details would bore Alex. The redirection was blatant, an attempt to belittle my understanding and to isolate me from the conversation. Yet it was Leah who seemed out of place, her attempts to dominate the evening falling flat. Ethan, sensing the shift, leaned in. Actually, Leah, Alex and I share everything, including details about our work. She has quite the knack for business strategy. The dinner continued, a battle of wits and wills, with Leah's attempts to undermine me becoming more desperate. Each barb, each veiled insult was met with grace and tact, not just from me, but from Ethan as well. As dessert was served, Leah's frustration was evident. "Well, this has been quite the evening. Alex, you've really outdone yourself. I must admit, I'm surprised." I met her gaze, my response measured but firm. "Thank you, Leah. We're glad you could join us. It's always interesting to revisit the past, especially with the perspective of time." The evening drew to a close, Leah and Daniel's departure leaving a palpable sense of relief in their wake. Ethan wrapped an arm around me, his voice low and comforting. "You were amazing tonight, Alex. Leah didn't stand a chance." As we cleaned up, the weight of the evening's confrontation began to lift. Leah's words, intended to belittle and provoke, had instead reinforced the strength of the life I'd built. The victory wasn't in outshining Leah, but in showcasing the unwavering support and love that Ethan and I shared, a stark contrast to the shallow and vindictive nature of Leah's provocations. Tonight was a reminder, not just to Leah but to myself, that the past no longer held power over me. I had faced my tormentor, not with vengeance, but with the undeniable truth of my happiness and success. And in that truth, I found the greatest revenge. The aftermath of the dinner lingered like a storm cloud. Leah's veiled threats and thinly veiled jealousy, a stark reminder of the battle lines drawn between us. Yet as the days passed, Ethan and I found strength in our unity, a bulwark against the tempest of Leah's malice. Our tranquility was short-lived. A week later, an invitation arrived, its elegant script belying the turmoil it represented. Leah and Daniel were hosting a gathering, and we were on the guest list. Ethan's brow furrowed as he read the card. "Looks like Leah's not done with us yet," he said, a hint of steel in his voice. I took the invitation, tracing the letters. "Are we going?" Ethan met my gaze, his decision clear. "We face this together, Alex. We'll show them that we're unbreakable." The night of the party, we arrived hand in hand, a united front. The atmosphere was charged, the air thick with anticipation and underlying tensions. Leah greeted us with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Alex, Ethan, how wonderful of you to come. I was afraid you might decline," Leah said, her tone dripping with faux sweetness. "Wouldn't miss it for the world, Leah," I replied, matching her smile with one of genuine confidence. As we mingled, it became apparent that Leah had laid a careful trap, hoping to isolate us socially. Yet, with each encounter, we navigated the room with ease, our bonds of loyalty and love an invisible shield against her machinations. Leah, watching from afar, grew increasingly frustrated. Cornering us with a glass of wine in hand, she launched her assault. "I must say, Alex, you've managed to surprise me. I never thought you'd have the nerve to show your face here after everything." I met her challenge head on. "Leah, I've nothing to hide. My conscience is clear. Can you say the same?" Her eyes flashed with anger, the mask of civility slipping. "You think you're so clever, don't you? Playing the victim, just like you always do, but we both know the truth, don't we?" Ethan's presence beside me was a silent vow of support. "The only truth here, Leah, is that you're unable to move on from the past. You're stuck in a cycle of your own making." Leah's gaze flicked between us, her venom finding no purchase. "Oh, please, save your sanctimonious platitudes. I know what you're after, but you won't find it here." The evening wore on, Leah's attempts to undermine us growing more desperate. It was not until later, in a quiet moment away from the crowd, that her true intentions became clear. Confronting us in the garden, Leah's facade finally crumbled. "You think you've won, don't you? Showing up here, flaunting your so-called happiness, but I know it's all a sham." Ethan's voice was calm but firm. "Leah, this isn't a game. There's nothing to win. We're just living our lives, something you might try focusing on instead of obsessing over ours." Leah's laugh was bitter, filled with unspent fury. "Live my life? You've made that impossible, parading around, reminding me of everything I can't have." I stepped forward, the pieces falling into place. "Leah, you can't blame us for your choices. You're the architect of your own misery. It's not too late to change, to find real happiness." Her response was a scoff, the sound cutting through the night air. "Happiness? With Daniel? You've made sure that's out of reach. But don't worry, Alex. I'll find my happiness, even if it means taking yours." The threat hung heavy between us, Leah's intentions laid bare. Yet as we left the party, Ethan's hand in mine, I felt an unexpected sense of peace. Leah's words, meant to divide us, had only served to reinforce the strength of our bond. The battle lines were drawn, but I no longer feared the war. With Ethan by my side, I was ready to face whatever Leah had planned. Her desperation was a sign of her weakness, not our vulnerability. And in that realization, I found not just courage, but a resolve to protect the life and love I had fought so hard to build. The days following Leah's party were a testament to the calm before the storm. Ethan and I, aware of the brewing tempest, fortified our resolve, a united front against the impending onslaught. Yet nothing could have prepared us for Leah's next move, a calculated strike aimed directly at the heart of our fortress. It was a typical morning, sunlight streaming through the curtains when the phone rang, shattering the peace. Ethan answered, his expression shifting from curiosity to concern, then to outright disbelief. He hung up, turning to me with a look that chilled my bones. "That was Daniel. He's asking to meet me, alone, says it's urgent and can't wait." The request was unusual, laced with an undercurrent of desperation. "What do you think he wants?" I asked, the sense of foreboding growing. Ethan was thoughtful, his mind racing through possibilities. "I'm not sure, but it's clear he's not acting on Leah's behalf. This is something else." Agreeing that Ethan should take the meeting, I watched him leave, a knot of anxiety in my stomach. The hours crawled by, each minute stretching into eternity, until Ethan finally returned, his face a mask of shock and anger. "What happened? What did Daniel say?" I asked, fearing the answer. Ethan was quiet for a moment, collecting his thoughts before he spoke. "It's Leah. She's planning something, Alex, something big. Daniel's worried, said he can't control her anymore." The revelation was a cold splash of reality. Leah's vendetta was escalating, no longer content with mere social sabotage. "What's she planning?" The urgency in my voice mirrored the pounding of my heart. "He wouldn't say or couldn't, but he's scared, Alex, scared enough to warn us." The conversation shifted quickly from speculation to strategy. If Leah was preparing to strike, we needed to be ready, to anticipate her move and counter it. The opportunity presented itself sooner than expected. Leah, in her hubris, underestimated the strength of our bond, the depth of our resolve. She launched her attack in the form of a lawsuit, a baseless accusation aimed at tarnishing my professional reputation, dragging my name through the mud. The news hit like a tidal wave, each headline a dagger aimed at my heart. But rather than cower, Ethan and I stood firm, ready to fight back with the truth. Confronting Leah became inevitable, a showdown she eagerly anticipated, thinking she held the upper hand. We met in a quiet cafe, a neutral ground that belied the war raging between us. Leah was the first to speak, her voice dripping with faux concern. "Alex, I'm truly sorry it's come to this, but you left me no choice. You've been stealing from your company, and I had to expose you." Her words were lies, twisted and barbed, meant to wound. Yet I met her gaze, unwavering. "You and I both know that's not true, Leah. This is about revenge, nothing more." Ethan's support was a tangible force, his presence a reminder of the strength we shared. "You won't win, Leah. We have the truth on our side." Leah's confidence faltered, her mask slipping. "The truth? Your truth means nothing. I'll make sure everyone sees you for who you really are, Alex." The meeting ended with no resolution, Leah's threats hanging in the air like a guillotine. Yet as we left, Ethan squeezed my hand, a silent vow that no matter what Leah threw our way, we would face it together. The lawsuit loomed over us, a dark cloud threatening to burst. But rather than wait for Leah's next move, we took the offensive, gathering evidence of my innocence and Leah's malicious intent. The days turned into weeks, each moment a battle in the war for my reputation. Leah's machinations became increasingly desperate, her attacks more personal, but with each assault, her true nature was exposed, her credibility eroding like sandcastles against the tide. As the court date approached, the weight of the impending showdown was a constant companion. Yet, amidst the storm, Ethan and I found solace in our unity, a beacon of hope in the darkness. Leah's revenge, once a fearsome specter, had become her undoing. Her attempts to destroy us had only strengthened our resolve, our love a fortress against her hate. And as we prepared to face her in court, I knew that no matter the outcome, we had already won. Our victory wasn't just in clearing my name, but in proving that together, Ethan and I were unbreakable. A testament to the power of truth over lies, love over vengeance. The courthouse loomed large as Ethan and I approached, hands clasped, a united front against the storm. Inside, the air was thick with anticipation, the weight of judgment palpable. Leah was already there, her posture one of confidence masking desperation. As the proceedings began, it was clear Leah believed her web of lies would ensnare me, tarnish my reputation beyond repair. Yet, with each witness, each piece of evidence presented in my defense, her facade began to crumble. It was during a recess, in the quiet of the corridor, that Leah approached, her demeanor a mix of anger and something akin to panic. "You think you've won, don't you?" she hissed, barely containing her fury. "Even now you stand there, so smug, so sure of yourself." Ethan stepped forward, his voice calm but firm. "This isn't about winning or losing, Leah. It's about the truth. Something you seem to have forgotten." Leah's laugh was bitter, devoid of any real humor. "Truth? Your truth is a lie, a facade, but it doesn't matter. I'll make sure everyone sees you for who you really are." I faced her, my resolve steeling. "No, Leah. It's you who's being seen for who you truly are. Your actions, your lies, they've caught up with you. This isn't just about me anymore. It's about you and the damage you've done." Leah's eyes flashed with malice, her next words a venomous whisper. "You'll regret this, both of you. I'll make sure of it." But her threats held no power, her words empty and hollow. The battle lines had been drawn, and as we returned to the courtroom, it was with the knowledge that Leah's reign of terror was nearing its end. The verdict was swift, the judge's words a vindication of all we had endured. Leah's accusations were unfounded, her case built on malice and deceit. As the gavel fell, so too did the mask Leah had worn for so long. Outside the courthouse, the air never tasted so sweet, the sun never shone so brightly. Ethan and I embraced, a silent acknowledgement of the battle we had fought and won, but our victory was bittersweet, the cost of Leah's vendetta a reminder of the scars we bore. Yet, as we looked to the future, it was with the certainty that those scars were not signs of weakness, but of strength, of survival. In the days that followed, Leah's world unraveled. The exposure of her lies, her deceit, not just against me but others, became her undoing. Friends, allies, even Daniel saw her for who she truly was, a woman consumed by jealousy and hate. And as Leah's empire of lies crumbled, so too did her hold over those she sought to control. Daniel reached out, a gesture of peace, an acknowledgement of the pain caused by his inaction, his blindness to Leah's true nature. "It's over," he said, his voice tinged with regret. "I'm sorry for everything. I was fooled, blinded by Leah's manipulations. I hope one day you can forgive me." His words, while unexpected, were not what we sought. Our forgiveness was not his absolution. Yet we accepted his apology, not for his sake, but for our own, a closing of the chapter that had brought so much pain. Leah's downfall was complete, her schemes laid bare for the world to see. She had sought to destroy us, to tear apart our lives, but in the end, it was her own life that lay in ruins. As Ethan and I walked away from the courthouse that day, it was not with triumph, but with a sense of closure. We had faced the darkness, stood firm against the storm, and emerged stronger, our love the guiding light through the tempest. Leah's fate was her own making, a testament to the truth that the seeds of malice one sows will, in time, bear the fruit of one's undoing. Karma, it seems, had come full circle, and justice, in its truest form, had prevailed. The days following the trial felt like walking through a dream, the air around us lighter, the future brighter. Leah's shadow, which had loomed over us for so long, had finally dissipated, her power to harm us gone. Yet the true test of our victory lay not in the courtroom, but in the life Ethan and I would build from the ashes of this battle. Our resolve was put to the test sooner than we anticipated. News of Leah's downfall spread, her actions condemned by all who had once been in her orbit. But it was a chance encounter with Leah herself that would mark the true end of our ordeal. We saw her in the town square, a shell of the woman she had once been. Her eyes met mine, and for a moment I saw the flicker of the person she might have been, lost to the venom that had consumed her. Leah approached, her steps hesitant. "Alex, Ethan," she began, her voice lacking its former confidence. I wanted to say I'm sorry, for everything." The apology was unexpected, her words hanging between us like a fragile truce. Ethan's hand found mine, a silent source of strength. "Why now, Leah? After everything you've done?" I asked, not unkindly. The curiosity was genuine. The path from vengeance to remorse was not one easily trodden. Leah looked down, her voice barely a whisper. "Losing everything. It makes you see things differently. I was wrong, so wrong, and I'm sorry, truly." The sincerity in her words was palpable, a stark contrast to the venom she'd wielded like a weapon. In that moment, I realized the Leah standing before us was not the enemy we had fought, but a person, broken and seeking redemption. "Ethan and we accept your apology, Leah, not because it changes the past, but because we all need to move forward," I said. The decision not just for Ethan and me, but for Leah as well. Leah's eyes welled with tears, the walls she had built around herself crumbling. "Thank you. I don't expect forgiveness, not really, but I needed you to know. I'm going to try to make things right, somehow." As she walked away, I felt Ethan squeeze my hand, a silent acknowledgement of the closure we had just witnessed. Leah's apology, though unexpected, was the final piece in healing the wounds of our past. In the weeks that followed, Ethan and I focused on rebuilding, not just our lives, but the community around us. We volunteered, we participated, we became pillars in a town that had seen too much division. Our efforts did not go unnoticed. One evening, as we walked home from a community event, Daniel approached us. His demeanor was one of peace, his intent clear. "Alex, Ethan, I just wanted to thank you for showing compassion to Leah, for everything you've done for the town. You've changed things here for the better." His words, a testament to the power of forgiveness and the strength of community, filled us with a sense of accomplishment. "Thank you, Daniel. We all have the power to change, to make a difference. It's what we choose to do with that power that defines us," I replied, believing every word. As we walked away, hand in hand, Ethan and I knew that our battle had not just been about overcoming Leah's vendetta. It had been about proving that love, unity, and compassion could triumph over hatred and division. Our lives moved on, the seasons changing as they always do. But the love between us, tested by fire, remained unbreakable. We had faced the darkness together and emerged into the light, stronger and more united than ever. Leah's journey was her own, a path of redemption that would be long and fraught with challenges, but in her quest for forgiveness, she had given us all a gift. The reminder that it is never too late to change, to seek forgiveness, and to start anew. As Ethan and I looked towards the future, we did so with open hearts and a clear vision. Our love had been our fortress, our compassion our shield, and with these we would continue to build a life filled with joy, peace, and endless possibility. The war was over, but our story, our journey, was just beginning.